Hello and welcome to the weekly show that brings you the top 5 digital and social media news you need to know for this week in less than 5 minutes. I'm Nachi Lazarus and this is the Connected Church News for leaders of nonprofits, churches and faith-based organizations. This week we have news from Facebook, YouTube, Google, Snapchat and Messenger. All of this in less than 5 minutes. Let's get started. Our first big news of this week is from YouTube. YouTube is reportedly launching a TikTok competitor feature inside YouTube app called Shorts. Shorts will be a new feature that will live inside the existing YouTube app, but it will be similar to TikTok, where people will be able to add music to their short videos, and YouTube will make available the licensed music that it already has inside YouTube app. So this will be interesting to see how it turns out, and also there are speculations whether YouTube will continue the route of making it available only to people with certain subscriber counts. That is how Stories feature now lives inside YouTube. It's not available to everyone, but it needs to have a certain number of subscribers. So this feature also might be built into YouTube like that. So something to look out for and to wait and watch. Our next big news is from Messenger. Facebook Messenger has launched a new desktop app for both Windows and Mac. The biggest feature out of all the interesting features they have listed is the unlimited and free group video calls, which means this becomes a direct competitor to apps like Zoom. And especially in the free plan, Zoom has limits, right? It has a 40-minute limit, and also there is limitation on number of participants and so on. Facebook is now coming into the space, lifting all those limitations. So as a ministry, if you have been using or if you've been planning to use video calls as a means of ministry, then this is something that you really want to have a look at, because already people are on Facebook, so they don't even have to download another app or learn something new. All they have to do is click on Facebook and join the call. So and it's free, and it is unlimited. That's what Facebook says. So do have a look and check out if this is something that you can add to your online and digital ministry efforts in a time as this. Our next news is from Snapchat. Snapchat has released a very interesting article with lots of tips about how to become creative in your messaging during this season of COVID-19, which is happening all over the world. This is a time when we as communicators need to shift the way we have been communicating, and this short article has a lot of pointers that can help you. This, of course, it talks about businesses, but lots of the principles that are laid out in this article are applicable to ministries and nonprofits as well. So that's why I wanted to bring to your notice. For example, the article talks about how to become a trusted source in a time like this, how to understand the new normal that consumers and communities have adopted during a time like this, and how to communicate effectively to connect with them, how to add value, how to shift your thinking, your mindset as a communicator during times like this. I will link to the article in the show notes. Do check it out. Our next news is from Facebook. Last week, Facebook released an article outlining 3 important video organizing features that could help you as a church or a ministry. First is playlists. Facebook has added new features to its playlist option, which will help your viewers or users find the topic that they're looking for without much of searching. And number 2 is series. You can now take all your teaching series, especially if you're a ministry that has lots of teaching series, you can now upload them as a series so that people can watch them one by one in an organized manner. Number 3 is especially useful for ministry backend teams, which is bulk uploading. So if you do have video or lots of videos that are not yet on Facebook platform, then this is a good time to use the bulk video uploader to get all those videos to Facebook. Facebook seems to be going after YouTube in some way, wanting to have all the video content. But hey, as ministry and as organizations, we need to use as many platforms as possible. So I highly recommend you take advantage of all these features. Do check it out. I will link to it in the show notes. Our final news is from Google. Last week, Google released tips, tools and resources that teachers and students can use to keep the learning going even remotely. And this article can especially be useful for nonprofits and ministries that are involved in educational ministry, and even as a church or teaching ministry, you can take a lot of tips on how to use even the tools and resources that Google has. Most of them are free, some of them are built in with G Suite, and here Google talks about how you can take those resources and use them effectively to keep the learning and education process moving forward. So I highly recommend you check it out and see how you can apply this to your ministry. Well, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you like to dig deeper into any of the stories we talked about, you can look at all the source links and details in our news page, nachilazarus.com/news. Do check it out. I will see you next week with another set of news items. Until then, you stay connected and stay blessed. God bless you. Bye-bye.